Okay, and then let's come onto all fours. And we're gonna come into cat-cow. We're gonna do our 3 minutes of cat-cow. So inhale, look up, exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, exhale. So keep going, inhale. While you guys are doing cat-cow, I'm going to talk to you about Samskaras. So a while ago, we talked about Samskaras, and we talked about them using yoga to burn up these Samskaras, these bad habits. Well, these Samskaras have come up again, and I learned some more about them. So they're not only just bad habits, they're more like long-standing, reoccurring, painful patterns. So they're like these, they're described as seeds in Hinduism. These seeds that are like, they're like lodged in our psyche. And when something happens in our life, these seeds, they bloom, and it's not always like a good thing. This is not good, this is bad. So for example, my teacher would always talk about Bob. So Bob is just this general character that can literally be your mom, your brother, your coworker. It's always Bob. It's always the same person. We're just in this infinite reality where we are projecting ourselves into our reality, or it's the same person coming up, the same relationship. Okay, so for example, Bob cancels brunch on you, and you freak out and have this huge emotional expression happen, and it was just a cancellation about brunch. And so what happened is that one of these seeds has bloomed. One of these long-standing, reoccurring, painful patterns has been expressed. So that's what these samskaras are. These are like emotions. They are bad habits. They're karma, their feelings, their traumas, their behaviors. So something in your life triggered this samskara to bloom. And so these are things that can be from this lifetime, from past lifetimes, and it's can be happen from, you know, Bob just canceling you on brunch. And so the great thing about yoga is that yoga can burn up these bad habits, but it can also teach us ways on how to deal with these long-standing, reoccurring, painful patterns, these samskaras. You know, we can all think of that, like, okay, so Bob cancels brunch on you, but all of a sudden you just feel abandoned. Like, that has nothing to do with Bob. Bob just, you know, had other plans. He couldn't go to lunch. Okay, like, it wasn't that big of a deal, but you had this big freak out. And so that's how you kind of know, is when you have these blowouts. You're like, okay, one of these seeds has now bloomed. And so that's why yoga is so great, because we do things like the addiction meditation that can help with like addiction patterns and different addictive feelings that we're addicted to. And so it also helps us with mindfulness. And so that's like at the end of the class when we do the meditations or we do the shavasana and we sit here and we go through our body, we're being mindful of the present moment and what's going on in our body. And that mindfulness helps us recognize, hey, Bob just canceled brunch on me. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, something else is going on. This has nothing to do with Bob. And so awareness is the first step in recognizing these samskaras, and our awareness is the second step, or being mindful. Okay, you have to be mindful of what's happening. You have to be aware of what's happening, because if you don't even know what's happening, then you don't even know, like, oh, I just had one of these samskaric seeds bloom. And so that's where the awareness comes in. We become aware of our emotions, and we know that just like in the meditations, we'll become aware that these thoughts, they come and go. And so like when we're doing the meditation, we have a thought. Well, here comes the thought, but we're actually supposed to be focusing on our breath. And we know that we're going to come back to our breath, and then that's going to go away. And here comes the thought again. But these things, they come and go. And so that's where the yoga really comes in. And that's where, you know, we talked about we can burn up these bad habits, these samskaras with the yoga. And so that's what the yoga helps us recognize, these samskaras, and we can not always get rid of them per se, but then they can just be more like in the background, and we can recognize like, oh, here comes that really triggering emotion when people cancel on me on brunch. It has nothing to do with Bob. You know, it has this deeper seated feeling of feeling abandoned, but I can recognize like, oh, there's that feeling again. It's just like that breath. It's going to come and go. The thought is going to come and go. And let me come back to the present moment and just reschedule my lunch with Bob. Okay, so we're coming into cat cow. And so inhale, look up. Exhale, chin to chest. And then push back into child's pose. Again, let's come onto all fours. And then let's come into threading the needles. Bring our right arm through. We're stretching the shoulder. And then come out to all fours. Let's do that on the other side. Bring the left arm through. And let's come onto all fours again. Let's come into a seated position. Okay, let's do our addiction meditation. So this meditation is good for addictive thoughts, addictive patterns, whatever you're addicted to, social media, cigarettes, negative emotions, talking bad about yourself, whatever, put your thumbs on your temples. And then our eyes close down. We're gently saying sa, ta, na, ma. We're gently clenching our back molars. We're mentally saying sa, ta, na, ma. We're looking up at that third eye point. Fingers are really high up on the pads of our palms. Inhale. Look up at that third eye, the point between the brow, and exhale. Okay, so from here, let's come on to our backs. Our feet come to the mat. Let's come onto our backs, and let's come into bridge pose. So hands stay by your legs, and then we're gonna bring our heels as close to your butt as we can, and then inhale, lift up. So take some deep breaths here. And then come down one vertebra at a time. Bring your knees into your chest. Rock left and right. And then come back to the middle, the right ankle 3 times to the right, 3 times to the left. Left ankle 3 times to the right, 3 times to the left. And then bring your feet up, flex your feet, and then grab behind your legs and just bring them in towards your chest. And then bring your knees in again, and let's do bridge pose. One more time, feet come to the mat. And then bring your feet as close to your butt as you can. Inhale, lift up. And you can stay here or you clasp your hands together to get up a little higher. Lift up a little bit higher this time. And then come down one vertebra at a time. Bring your knees into your chest. Let's do that again. Grab behind your legs, flex your feet, bring your knees in towards your chest. So you feel a stretch all down the back of the legs. And then bring your knees into your chest. And then rock and roll. Give your spine a good massage. Make sure you're breathing. And then rock and roll into a seated position. And we're going to come into fists of anger. Okay, let's burn off Bob rescheduling our brunch. Damn it. Okay, our fingers are under our pinkies. I'd say Bob, and I think of Bob from Dragon Rising now. Like, I gotta pick a new name, but that's what my teacher would say. Bob. Bob is your brother. Bob is, whoever. It's just like this placeholder name. It's like the same person that you project onto other people, because you get in these relationships and all of a sudden, like, your coworker is your mom, or like your sister is somebody else that and you're projecting these relationships onto those people. So it's just Bob. It's the same person. You're talking to someone else completely, but there we go. Your boyfriend's Bob again. You're just projecting these things onto other people. Okay, so thumbs are under your pinkies, and we're thinking about how Bob rescheduled our brunch and it's making us irritated and annoyed and angry. We're thinking about what makes us mad, and we're doing O mouth breath up and over our head. Use your anger to fuel the movement. Interlace the fingers, inhale, hold the breath. Imagine white light all around you. Exhale, inhale, hold the breath, project the white light above you, below you, all around you. Exhale, inhale, project, stretch, really stretch up, and exhale. Stretch the shoulders, the neck and the jaw. Okay, we're gonna take the last couple minutes to do some Sarabandendis. So we are in downward dog and our feet stay under. So our feet don't go like this, our feet are staying under. We're in downward dog, and then we're going down to plank. You can stay on your knees like this, or you can go into plank, and then we're inhaling up and exhaling back into triangle, they call it, downward dog, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Stay here for a breath so you get the stretch, and then come down. Exhale, inhale, push back, exhale. You can come on your knees. You don't have to do it really fast. Make sure you keep your elbows by your sides. Honestly, just make sure you're breathing. That's all that matters. We'll do a couple more. We'll meet in downward dog. Inhale, exhale, come into child's pose, feet together. And then let's come onto all fours. Let's come into Shavasana. We made it. And let's come onto our backs. So take up as much space on your mat here as you'd like. Palms face up. Let your feet fall to each side. Place one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. And then go ahead and take 5 yogic breaths on your own. When you're done, you can just relax your hands if you want to, or you can keep one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. Just focus on your breath, following the breath through the nostrils, down into the belly, and back up. You notice your mind just started to wander. Just take note. Just say to yourself, thinking, and then come back to the breath. You notice that your mind has gone off with thought again. Just take note, thinking, and then gently come back to your breath, just without any judgments or frustration. Just come back to your breath. Projects to your mind, just caught up in thought. Just gently come back to your breath. Pull the breath down your nostrils, all the way down into your belly as you inhale, and back up as you exhale. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing some life back into your limbs. Roll your arm up over your head and roll over onto your side. And then come up into a seated position. Eyes closed, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale. Sat. Nam. Sat. Nam. Sat. Nam. Just remember, we cannot control our mind, but we can always control our breath. Sanam.